kind of come to realize, if you haven't noticed by my apartment and just like the way things in my life are, or my car, I have a problem with holding on to crap. Like, I'm not as bad as those people, you know, that you see on like TLC, where they've got like their entire house is just like full to the walls. But every once in a while I look around and I'm like, why do I have all this crap? I mean, like, everything I can justify in some weird way, but it's still annoying as hell.
You know, I kind of have the same problem, only me, on the other hand, after a couple of years, I can throw it out. But at the moment, it seems important. Like right now, I still have one of those, you know, baby bottle pop candy containers, only it's filled with airsoft pellets and half of a bouncy ball.
What do you mean half of a bouncy ball?
I mean, like, this bouncy ball that's been broken in half. It's in the top part where the baby bottle nipple used to go.
Admittedly, I think I have a old watch case filled with airsoft pellets myself. It's funny because I don't actually know, like, some of the stuff is just like, oh, I have a small collection of golf balls, and it's like, oh, well, I might take up golfing again, but I don't have a set of golf clubs anymore. And golfing is boring as hell. Anyway, no offense to any golfers. And I honestly don't know why I keep these things rather than, you know, like, do something fun with them, like throw them at small children or at my cat.
I kind of have a collection like that, only it's just two of them, and they're both lacrosse balls, so I'll never have a use for those. Ever.
Why exactly do you have lacrosse balls?
I found them.
How do you know that they're lacrosse balls?
Because I saw the lacrosse people using them the days before I found them.
I don't know. It's become kind of a... It's a minor annoyance, and I'm at the point of almost considering getting a blindfold and just throwing stuff in the garbage until things seem cleaner.
I don't think this broken desk is going to fit in the garbage can you have in here.
Well, we're using it right now.
Oh, yeah, but we could be using that table over there that's piled up with more junk.
Well, that's my junk table. That's full of taxes and stuff that I don't feel like getting around to taking care of.
Yeah, you should probably take care of that.
Yeah.
You know, you have a filing cabinet for that.
It's full of video games.
So you've got your video games in a place that's harder to access than your useless papers.
Do believe I just realized a flaw in my filing system, but never mind that. It's kind of funny what you end up holding on to years after. Occasionally I stumble across something that was just like, why did I ever bother keeping this thing?
I still have a bunch of sections of 3-inch, maybe 6-inch handmade ropes that I found recently. They were connected to some sticks, but I threw away the sticks.
No logical reason why you kept that.
No, but I still have them, and they're pretty awesome, I gotta admit. Yeah, it's just those little knickknacks that you hold on to, thinking that you should have them displayed somewhere. Well, admittedly now I have them displayed somewhere, but still, I mean, they have like no meaning behind them.
Well, think about this. Displayed for who? I mean, besides from like the few people that we actually like to hang out and talk with, who the hell else is actually going to show up in your room? Are you trying to, like, you know, if some girl comes into your room, is she going to be like, oh, you have your knickknacks arranged very specific way, it's all organized, I'm so impressed, let's have sex now? No, that's just looks like clutter.
No, but I'd really like to have that happen. That's my dream right there.
Have your knickknacks arranged so well that you get tang out of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, that would be ultimate. It's just those little things that you just keep piling up. And, you know, I kind of equate it to, like, how those ancient people used to collect, like, animal bones and stuff and make shrines. Only this is a shrine to nothing. Most of the stuff that I have, like, sitting out right now is, like, pieces of vacuum, little laser tag guns that I've kept. I think I have my old camera, which I can't buy film for anymore. You know, just like relics of the old age that will never become useful or ever find any kind of purpose in the near or distant future. I mean, later on, somebody might like run across this room and go, "Oh my God, look at all these priceless mementos of the past," but I doubt that's ever going to happen, because that's just what happens in my imagination. Maybe that's why I collect them, you know, hoping that someday somebody will think it's cool.
Even if that somebody comes eons after you.
Yeah, I mean, like, recently I dug up this tin can filled with those little fish treasures that you get from Petco. You know?
Yeah.
Those ones that you put in the bottom of the tank and it mixes with the rocks and makes it all shiny. Well, it was like filled with those, and of course those handmade ropes that I was talking about had those in it too. A bunch of pins and whatnots in it. And it was almost like a time capsule. Afterwards, I just organized it into the mundane crap that I had already sitting out, and now it's all part of the whole knick-knack stash that I have.
Well, what's really funny is I recently discovered, in 5th grade, at the end of, like, 5th grade, I believe, I made, like, as part of our class, like, no, well, not at the end of 5th grade, at the end of the year in 5th grade, I realized I found this time capsule, and the funny thing was, I was like, it's like a link to my past and who I was back then, and I never opened it. It's still sitting, like, in a box somewhere. I came across it, and I was thinking, oh, I could open this. It'd be cool to see what I was like, you know, how many years ago. I can't even think of how old I would have been in 5th grade, but I was very tempted to open it, but I couldn't bring myself to open it, so I threw it in a box, because I was like, well, maybe, like, when I'm 30, you know, I want to see what I was like when I was in 5th grade, you know. I don't know why, and it's just like, it's so trivial, because nothing that I could have had to say in 5th grade would probably be of any importance or, like, any significance whatsoever, or reveal some startling truth about my inner self. It was probably just some stupid crap that I wrote down at the time. I'm trying to think. Pokemon cards. I don't know, back then I was into anime back then, so, you know, maybe something about anime or meteorology, which is something else I was in back then. Man, I was a weird kid. Point being, I'm just, it's weird. I couldn't bring myself to open the bloody thing. I can't even figure out why, though. It's just so trivial, and for some reason I couldn't do it.
Well, you know, I guess it's kind of the same mentality behind having a journal. You know, I was just kind of thinking about it here, but, I mean, you go and collect all these thoughts or objects, and you place them away where nobody, including yourself, is even going to look over them ever again.
Right.
Like, I was just thinking about it recently, and, you know, I've written a bunch of stuff down, and recently I just threw out a bunch of journals that I had. But I thought to myself, what was the whole point of this if I was not going to ever look at these ever again?
I think the assumption when you're writing a journal is that you're eventually going to go back and re-look over everything and kind of be like, hey, this is cool, or this is what I was feeling back then. But in some ways, I don't know, I feel like it just adds to clutter and just ends up, you know, adding to just the mess.
Well, yeah, I mean, even my creative writing journal, which I really liked some of the pieces that I wrote in there, I never look back through that. I just remember it instead of, you know, reading it.
Well, I will point a counterpoint to that. I went back. I recently took the time to go back through a lot of my older drawings, and admittedly how terrible and crap they are, even by, like, you know, comparison to my terrible crap drawing skills now. It's kind of funny because I look back and some of those ideas are actually surprisingly original and kind of fresh, and it's nice to maybe think about maybe reworking them in my current work. I don't know. But then again, you know, admittedly, some of the other things that I wrote down are just kind of like, this is stupid and garbage, you know, throw this away. Don't need to keep this.
Most of the stuff that I drew was all surreal, so it's no real use to me, so I guess to each his own drawing. So.
Given.